One of them that on the internet bragging and boasting whole day. About my gold bangle she man buy she, how fancy she house fancy, how big business show, and she says she an entrepreneur. How you could be an entrepreneur and then the landlord and tenant court owing your landlord over 23,000 in rent and literally asking a judge to give you 6 to 9 months for living the landlord house free. And when the judge say, okay, we're going to give you 3 months to live free, you know what do? You decide that you want go to trial because you want to live in a landlord house 3 to 6 months free. You know want to pay the landlord rent. And the landlord say, hell no. You want 6 to 9 months to live in my house, you have to pay the rent. Now, let me ask you one question, Blue. Let me ask you one question. Those people made a sacrifice to buy their property and they have mortgage. They have an obligation to that bank. When you move into these people's house, say you had an obligation to pay their rent. And you stop paying the rent because you find a loophole in the system, which I hope eventually they'll find a way to close that hole that you guys has been jumping through for many, many years in this country. All right. Why is it that you guys feel that it's okay to live in somebody's home and not pay rent? Then you coming out on the internet and acting like you're a victim and that you had to go and work many hours to pay this rent and your landlord didn't appreciate you when you was paying rent. Excuse me? Excuse me. What do you mean the landlord didn't appreciate when you did pay your rent? When you did go and rent these people house, you didn't know you had rent for pay, and you didn't know you would have had to work 12 hours and 16 hours a day for pay this rent. That's why it is live in what you can afford. Alright? Because if you know that you couldn't afford the rent, blow pavement, right? If you know you couldn't pay the rent, why did you move into the people's house? Huh? Why? Pay the people them the rent or get the hell out. A lot of you Guyanese come to this country and feel like you could live in people's homes for free. Rent where you can afford. Now look at you. Over 20,000 in rent you owe to this woman. A woman that struggled just like you to purchase her property. A woman that trusted you to move into that home and pay that rent so she could pay your mortgage. And there you are acting like you're the victim in this whole situation. You went and even lied and report this home for being infested with rats and roaches and mold. And guess what? When the inspector came by, they found that you were lying on the landlord and they maintained that property. What is wrong with some of you? Some of you guys are just shameless at this point here. Pay the people the rent or get out of the house, all right? You're an entrepreneur, sell barbecue aside the road.